Turkish literature? For sure there's some Turkish literature and some books about Turkey. So we'll talk about this time. So if you're talking about Turkey, for sure there's some literature and very deep literature about Turkey for sure also. So what I'll do, I'll make a book series about Turkish literature and books of Turkey and Istanbul. And every video I'm going to cover 4 books or at least well, 4 writers. So in this one we're going to cover actually, as I said, 4 books. The first one will be the Turkish Cookbook, which is a food recipe book. The second one will be a novel from Sabahattin Ali, which is called The Madonna in the Fur Coat. Then I will talk about Orhan Pamuk, the Nobel Prize holder writer. And lastly, I will be talking about some travel books, which is 2 of them actually, but I will cover them together. So let's start. So if you want to order or are interested in these books, have a look at the links below. So the Turkish Cookbook. This is an interesting book actually, because it's not only about Turkish cuisine, but it's also for everybody who is interested in cooking. And by the way, also about the culture of Turkey and the Anatolian region. This book is not only a cooking book, which is over 500 pages long with lots of recipes, which covers basically all kind of dishes from starters to main dishes, from delights to soups. But this book is also like a 514 pages book, like a novel actually. So it's readable like a novel. The chef and the author of this book is Musa Dağdeviren, who is a well-known chef here in Turkey from the 1980s, who has opened actually 2 well-known restaurants, so the kebab joint and also the Chia. And they serve basically dishes from all over this region. And I must say, this is vast actually, because the influence is so big in this region. It has the influence from the Black Sea, it has the influence from the Balkans, it has the influence Persian, Armenian, Syrian, Arabic, Aegean side, Greece side, and the list goes on and on and on and on. What combines all of these dishes and makes this book read like a novel is that every dish has a heart and has a story to tell. And you will see also that these dishes come with lots of pictures, stories, quotes, which help to understand the culture of these dishes better. So it's quite an enjoyable book also to read, not only for recipes. So you could check it out basically. I enjoyed it actually to read. The Madonna in the Fur Coat is also an interesting novel actually. But not only the novel is interesting, but the author, Sabahattin Ali, is also quite interesting because he had a novel-like life actually. So before going to that, let's quickly to the story itself. So the author itself lived actually in an interesting era of Turkey. So also the main character for sure. So it's after the wartime, the Second World War, and the main character was sent to Germany, for sure it's a Turkish character, to learn soap making actually, and then come back to his father's factory to teach them all how to make soap. But this is actually the only thing he doesn't do there in Germany. So he has an interesting life there in Germany, meets his love of his life there, and long story short, he comes back to Turkey because his father dies, and afterwards somehow the story evolves and he lives his life in regret because he cannot find his love of his life again. And this is from this perspective from his friend, as the story is told from his diaries, because the character is dying in his bed, and when the story starts, his friend reads his diaries, and so how this story starts actually, and the story ends when the diary ends, where also the main character dies in his bed. So it's an interesting story, but probably what is more interesting is that the author itself had a very interesting life, and he was murdered while he was escaping Turkey. So it's also interesting to read his life. Another point is that this book is not a new book actually. So it was just newly rediscovered again. And it was a bestseller in 2019. So interestingly, rediscovery of this book and in Turkey becoming a bestseller again after so many years. Have a look, you might like it. So the next one I'm going to talk about is not only one book but about a writer actually, and this is Orhan Pamuk. Orhan Pamuk is the Literature Nobel Prize holder of 2006. He is Turkish and he has written a couple of books actually, some very good books who have earned a lot of prizes. You'll find a list below with also the links to them where you can also get them from the internet. Interesting, have a look. I think you will enjoy them if you like this kind of novels. Most of his books are related for sure with Turkey, with all its complexity, with all the social life, with all the cultural differences, politics also for sure, philosophy and contradictional ideals also. Some of these books are the Black Book, Snow, The New Life, which are the more popular ones. Check this out. I think you might enjoy them to read if you are on the travel, on the bus or on the plane or somewhere, so you can understand some points better here in Turkey. Lastly, there are two books actually, and these are travel books. One is The Lonely Planet Istanbul, and the second one is Rick Steves' Istanbul Guide. So these are great books, but be sure to read them before you come here, or at least before you come to any tour. The reason why is you don't want to spend your time actually reading the book and looking at the book constantly. Instead, you would enjoy actually looking around and experiencing also all the experience here. So do the reading before. And if you would like to get out of the routine tour, if you're coming with a tour for sure, you can make a tour yourself with this guide, so to say. But what I will do also in future is I will take some of these routes of these books and test them for you, so that you have an idea actually of how this route will look like before you come there. So you don't need to read it actually, and you can live it and experience, and when you come to Turkey that you can directly see everything and enjoy it. Okay, so these were the books for this week, for this episode. 4 books, well, not directly 4 books, but at least 4 topics, and hope you will enjoy it. So if you like this kind of videos, please put in like, and don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much.